we are going to switch gears on you a little bit. Hello, my name is Kendra Ard. I am the Chief Infrastructure Officer at the California State University Office of the Chancellor. Very excited to be here with you today. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Tom, for inviting us to come. I have my colleague with me here.
Yeah, I'm Matt Hughes. I'm network architect for Common Network Infrastructure, which is a shared networking environment that we have for across the CSU. Networking obviously doesn't necessarily jive really well with some of the AI stuff that we're talking about, but I think that speaks to the fact that all of us are wearing a lot of different hats with this. It's kind of something that's come on fairly quickly, and we're all trying to adapt and try and pick up the load with it. And so that's one of the ways that I'm helping out with the Chancellor's office, and I think Kendra is as well. The other thing I wanted to add is just that Chancellor's office is the system-wide. I think for the UCs, it's the office of the president, right? And I don't know what it is for the CCCs, but the Chancellor's office is kind of the. There's 23 campuses that we oversee essentially, as opposed to just being at a specific campus.
Right. Okay. So we want to share with you today perspectives from the system office on embracing AI at scale across a complex, large, multi-university institution. How many people here in the audience are from a university or campus that is part of a system?
Part of the CSU system?
No, a system. UC, CSU, okay. And do we have any people here? I know one from the system office of your system. Okay, so what we're going to share with you today is try to give you some of the sense that, from our perspective at the system office, what we've been thinking about as we look to lean into and embrace the opportunities and challenges of AI at the CSU Office of the Chancellor. And to do that, let me give you just a quick overview of the magnitude of the CSU. We're the largest four-year public university system. We have our 23 universities, 450,000 students. 1 in 20 Americans with a degree are from a CSU, and 1 in 10 employees in the entire state of California are CSU grads. So when you look at the magnitude of what the CSU does, you can see why it's important for us to embrace AI and prepare the future workforce for our state and our country. And we have to do that while acknowledging that AI is going to disrupt everything, including higher ed. We know that. We also are acknowledging that we're all still figuring it out. Even the fancier universities and university systems that have been in the headlines are still figuring it out. And we know that it's going to require investment and resources, and it couldn't come at a worse time, in my opinion, at least for us Californians.
Yeah, and I think I was talking with a colleague at AT&T Consulting, and they were working on some big project that they were doing, and it was AI related, and it was involved getting all the data into this RAG application, and they spent so much time on it. And by the time that it came out, they realized that the technology had outstripped them. The things that they did was now simple, and they just spent all this time and not really been able to derive a ton of value out of it, right? And so all those considerations for how fast it's moving and kind of can you make money off of this, are something that you're taking into account for private enterprise. But for us in higher education, it's not just about did you make the right product selection. It's not did we derive value from it. I think if we go next slide, it's beyond just the cost of business value. It is the research. Like, can we do the research that everyone in this room is probably working on right now, but then also the preparing for the future workforce. And that's not just in research. It's not just people that are developing the AI, but people that are just going to be using AI like a tool. We're so familiar with, I think, with this group in people working with, developing AI and AI resources, but then just as that tool, that Photoshop, that maybe someone created that Photoshop tool, but there's an artist that's just using it as a tool to do their thing and making it more, making really amazing things out of it, but they don't know how it works, what's the inside of it. And then equity, that piece of it, how do we make sure that everybody has access to that tool? And that's something that we've all been talking about this whole day, but I think we're going to talk about a little bit more also.
Right. And from the system perspective at the Chancellor's office, when we look at equity, it's pretty challenging to think about because we have such a variety among our institutions. Some are really large with 40,000 students, and some are really small. Our larger campuses tend to have more resources, obviously, ability to invest. Our smaller campuses sometimes have almost no ability to invest in various initiatives. We have campuses that lean into research, and we have campuses that have not yet done much of that. 7 R2s, and congratulations to San Diego State, our first R1.
Yay. Yeah, and then on the actual, we move from the campus level of, where there's going to be haves and have-nots at the campuses, and we want them to be able to, all be able to offer at least some level of investment in AI and be able to provide that. But then at the student level, right, where you find that there's some students that have access to these tools and they can use it for tutoring, for better outcomes, and then the ones that that don't, do they get left behind? And even with something that's as fast-paced as AI stuff. There's the blazing, the very tip of the spear, essentially, that you think that is something that maybe is so new that it's hard to be able to roll it out in an efficient way. But because it's moving so fast, there's still pieces that we've proven out to say that even though this is a new technology, it has so quickly been able to prove its value that if we don't provide that to the students, then that is an equity issue. So, and some of those things that we're talking about right now with like LLM access, right? Being able to have a tool that you can use to ask general questions or ask questions about your classes that you're in, right? This is me also. I forgot. And the other one is that that we've seen with the internet and with computers in general, that those early adopters often become the entrenched leaders, right? The people, those garage startups like the Microsoft and the Apple and the Googles of the world, right? They all got in kind of the ground floor, and we want to be able to provide that opportunity for the students at the CSU as well to be able to kind of get in there while things are new and while things are still mobile.
So when we started to have discussions at the Chancellor's office about how do we approach AI, how do we support our campuses as they approach AI, we started talking about the challenges, and this is just a couple to highlight. Cost, obviously. If you think about the scale of the CSU, if we were to buy something for all our students, it costs $10 a month. That is $54 million a year. So enabling our campuses to lean into AI at a cost we can afford is a challenge. Because AI is going to affect so many, if not all aspects of our universities, bringing the right governance groups together to have appropriate consultation is a challenge. It needs to happen, but it's just not easy. And even once you have that governance navigated and you have a strategy in place, you still have to bring people along. And there are a lot of people to bring. There we go. For a minute, I thought there were no benefits. No, there are benefits. And we aspire to reach those benefits. CSU has a ton of data. We have so much data. We work really hard to protect that data. But we certainly believe that we could enhance the way we use that data to make lots of things better in the system. And we also know that we can improve efficiencies with AI, and we want to make that happen. To think about improving a process at a campus for one individual with, by enabling something to be easier through AI. Let's say you save that person 2 hours a week. Well, that good idea or that process improvement can then be propagated out across our 23 institutions and becomes 60 weeks of a person's time. So just like it's expensive to do AI at scale, the benefits that we want to reap could also be significant. In the CSU, we are very good at sharing resources and best practices. We do that really, really well. And so we know that if we come up with good ideas in one place, the challenge is spreading it, but once we do, we'll have a lot of benefit.
Yeah, so with the AI tools and with the AI policy that we're trying to come up with, we're thinking about we're in this kind of conundrum where you don't want to just throw out tools to 23 campuses that aren't fully baked, that you don't know necessarily whether this is going to provide value or not, right? And so you have to let the campuses are very good at being able to know where the tools might be the most effective for them and to be able to do some testing. So they'll be able to prove out, did this provide value to us, at our institution? And so you want to be able to let that happen. But if you wait too long, we can go next slide. Then you find you want to be able to do it before kind of things solidify. Once everyone has said, "Oh no, I'm a Google shop or I'm a Microsoft shop or whatever it is," that it's much harder to be able to change plans. So trying to find a way to add whatever system-wide endeavor into the equation at the campus level. You need to do that before they've already baked a full solution where it can't fit within kind of what they're doing as well, right?
So as we began our planning process, we did what every good strategic planner does, and we thought about, what's our ambition? And our ambition is to produce the best prepared, most diverse graduates for an AI-enabled workforce at an unprecedented scale in an optimized and cost-efficient way. And we looked at doing that, developing a plan for that through three lenses: our students, of course, our faculty, and then our institution at large. So for our students, we want to improve their experiences, and we want to create students who are ready for an AI-enabled future. And so we'll be doing that through making sure that all of our students have access, or the opportunity to have access, to use AI in a hands-on way, as well as develop competencies. We also want to make sure that we provide equitable access to the tools across our institution. We know that, as I mentioned, some of our campuses have had the ability to invest and provide access to some tool sets. Other campuses have not. And from the system perspective, we want to ensure that a student at, let's say, CSU Channel Islands gets the same opportunity that a student at San Diego State would get when it comes to that access to tool and access to learning. We also want to make sure that we use AI to improve student success through personalization and, ideally, ensuring accessibility for students who need it. And we want to think about our students' digital life cycle being enhanced with AI from application all the way to graduation and beyond. For our faculty, we want to empower them with tools and training so that they can infuse AI into their curriculum where appropriate. We want to provide them with access to the infrastructure and resources that they might need for research. And this is where NRP and Scenic Air will really come in to help us. And we want to make sure that we do that in appropriate consultation with our faculty and with the right guardrails in place. And when it comes to our institution at large, we want to leverage AI to be a more optimized institution, help us make better decisions, and hopefully create, efficiencies in lots of ways. One of the things that we hope, the promise of AI will deliver, the CSU has standardized in many areas because it creates efficiencies. Other areas where we haven't standardized, it's not that we don't want to, but it's hard, it's costly, it's difficult. But then we deal with the fact that that standardization doesn't exist. For example, some sort of data reporting that we have to do at a central level that gets collected in different ways at the campus level, that creates a lot of work. And so we're really hopeful that with the promise of AI and less than perfectly structured data that AI can handle, we'll be able to create a lot of efficiencies for our institution. We also want to make sure that our campuses don't have to reinvent the wheel 23 times, especially when it comes to AI.
So we kind of this is just we just had a board of trustees meeting and they just announced some of this stuff. So now we're allowed to talk about it. We did a presentation just earlier this week and we were allowed to say some of the stuff. But the kind of the three major points of where our initiative is going. So this is those were the ideas of kind of what we're trying to achieve with it, and these are kind of how we're hoping to achieve it. And so the three are the AI Workforce Acceleration Board, the AI Commons Hub, and the AI Educational Innovations. And so I think our first one is the workforce, right? Or is Workforce Acceleration Board,
Yes,
is that right?
I'm pushing the button.
All right, perfect. So there we go. That's the giant list of the kind of brag sheet of all the vendors and kind of titans of industry that we're having on this board. And it's very cool that they were able to get all these different companies to be willing to be on a board together and to sit in one room. But the thing that we're really excited about, we feel like is different than maybe what we've seen elsewhere is we're trying to ask these people who we feel like are shaping the future of AI technology in the workforce, asking them what is it that you are looking for your students that are coming out of college to be able to be prepared for this new world. And so having them on that board, being able to answer those questions and give the CSU guidance, I think will be super valuable. But then also, I mean, if they happen to want to give us free tools or internships, yeah, we'll take that too. But I mean, just the fact that we're going to be able to get them all to be able to provide some of that insight is really exciting.
We are very excited about this. I think it's a tremendous opportunity to learn from some of these giants in the industry. And I also think it's a tremendous opportunity for them to learn about us. I think that when some of these, powerful individuals from these powerful corporations understand the impact that the CSU has, I think that'll be good for all of us. AI Educational Innovations is next. Our Academic and Student Affairs division is supporting our faculty in many ways. Those various initiatives really build upon initiatives that have cropped up at campuses, including recognition programs, grants, training opportunities, et cetera. And so at the Chancellor's office level, our Academic and Student Affairs division will be surfacing those good efforts that have already begun and expanding upon them and funding them. And then the last initiative that we're going to mention today is our AI Commons, and this is going to be, I'll speak about it in the future tense, but it's actually under development and just not quite published yet. But our AI Commons, which is going to be our platform for providing access to student, faculty, and staff with tools, training, both curated and kind of, not curated, go find what you want type training, and guidelines, resources, and collaboration space to really aggregate all of the AI opportunities that the CSU can provide and provide it in a single place for all of our campuses to access. One of the exciting things that we will be providing via our AI Commons that we just got to announce in our Board of Trustees meeting yesterday is that the CSU will be providing all of our students at every institution, plus all faculty and staff, with a license for ChatGPT. And we think we're the first institution, in fact, I'm pretty sure we are, to go that, sort of lean that boldly into provisioning tools in service of equity to all of our students.
Yeah, and I think the ChatGPT tool for all is something that we're excited about. I think there's a lot of discussion about private LLMs, and I think that there is this huge space for that. What we were hoping to do from the system-wide level is that if we can handle that general use AI tool that students are asking and hitting with tons and tons of requests, not necessarily with domain specific knowledge from from the campus, like that's asking things that they might want to build their own RAG applications around, but if we can remove the need to be able to have that equity piece of it, then campuses can lean into building their AI tool sets that are specific to the areas that they are most interested in, and especially around the RAG applications and things like that they might be able to dip into either their educational materials or helping them to be able to run more efficient campuses, right? So I think this is our wrap up, but AI Workforce Acceleration Board is what we're trying to get all those different companies to be able to give us what they see as the future of AI and what we need to have for our students for that. AI educational innovations, which I think this is what we've heard a lot of, is just being able to teach the faculty, being able to have them know the tools that are out there available. And NRP and Nautilus is one of those. I think some of the resources that you all provided today are things that we would love to be able to include into that educational innovations. And then the equitable access to AI with this AI Commons Hub. Again, some of the stuff that you're putting on there, I think it will be a clearinghouse for information so that the campuses all have access to these different ideas and information that we're curating on that hub, and then also be able to share those tools.
And that actually lets you guys almost get to the reception.
Oh yeah, collaboration. I did want to, we took the slides out, but there's been enough talk about it. I did want to at least mention this. The idea of these open out educational resource tools, right? The super valuable to have, right? But what the major textbook companies are doing is they're building their own chatbots that are built into those boxes. And so we had done a pilot with Unisys, the idea of having a chatbot, having an LLM that is tied to those OER resources, right? And I think it was successful, but you realize that it's not something that one campus or one system probably should be the holder of. I think it needs to be something that's a collaborative group effort by everybody. And so that would be one of one of the possible collaborations that we could do on AI, is to figure out how we could make a sustainable plan for adding those chatbots, adding that AI piece to existing OER resources, and to continue to further that, so that keeps pace with that of the for-profit, textbook companies and things like that. But then also advancing what we're doing with NRP and any other opportunities or collaborations that you all have. I think we're all really excited because, like we mentioned at the very beginning, we're all still trying to learn this, and I feel like we're all trying to keep up with it,
Which is why this has been a great event, at least for me personally, to be here and kind of see all the cross collaboration already happening and hear all the good ideas. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much for coming. I have to say I'm super excited to be now a member of the faculty of CSU at your newest polytechnic in the system. I saw us way up in the corner of the map at Humboldt. So I was hired to teach data science, which is a very exciting time in data science. And I am also really excited to be at a polytechnic. I was thinking, as I'm at the campus, it didn't used to be a polytechnic, what makes a polytechnic really special? And so I started reading about the history of MIT and how they became such a great polytechnic. And what they said was students and faculty just worked really hard to solve problems together, and then they built the curriculum after that. And so what I saw in your talk, and I love those initiatives that you discussed at the board, I'm excited for those, but what I saw in your talk is that there's problems in the system that might be solved with AI, but you also want your students to learn how to build AI products. So for example, at my campus, maybe we're worried about parking, right? Could we have students and faculty work on our campus to try to solve this campus problem? Like right now, I'm searching desperately for problems for my students to solve. I see there's problems on campus, but I can't pay my students to solve those problems because the campus doesn't have the budget for it, right? So like we have problems to solve. We have students that want to learn how to solve them. How could we connect those two?
Yes.
Thank you.
So first of all, I have searched for parking on your campus many times. It is a nightmare. And we sort of glossed over it, but part of what we intend our AI Workforce Acceleration Board to do is to help us develop challenges and fund challenges that would be just like what you're talking about. And we would hope to use our Workforce Acceleration Board partners to kind of provide the framework around that, and maybe the evaluation and grading, but really kind of help us create those grand challenges that would bring that hands-on experience.
Thank you. Follow-up question is, how could we apply to join the board? Is it open to, yeah, maybe if you could share the process of how that board will be formed.
So the board was formed by invitation only. It is in partnership with our governor's office. We have two secretaries, Secretary of Labor, and this, I should know this, I should know this, but I don't. It's Secretary Knox and Secretary Tong. I remember their last names. So we have representation from the governor's office. We have representation from, I believe, the faculty senate, and some the president from San Jose State, and then the vendor partners were selected in a process that I wasn't totally part of, but knowing that many of them are California companies, we thought it was really important to bring them to the table.
Thank you. And students, hopefully, too. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. And we have, beyond the board, we also have other AI working groups, like there's a AI, informal AI group, but I think that we're trying to spin up more affinity groups as well to be able to share that collaboration. So that's not our only shot at collaborating or regarding AI, hopefully. So I think-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's two mics open.
I'll ask one, even though it'll put us between. But one of the things I'd like to hear you guys answer is this on?
The mic is off.
My mic is off. Who turned it off? I have a really loud voice. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, so as a teacher, I've done some teaching. I want to know, what are your plans to accelerate new course adoption? It can take 2 or 3 years to come up with a new course. In AI machine learning space, it's moving too fast. So I'm hoping you guys have some thought for accelerating the ability for faculty to create new courses and then teach them like a year later.
Yes, and I can tell you that that topic has been a topic of conversation at even the highest levels in the chancellor's office. We recognize that the importance of that. I can also tell you that happily, I don't. It doesn't fall in the. But it's something that we need to work collaboratively with the appropriate stakeholders to figure out, because things are accelerating and we can't continue to always take the time that we maybe used to be able to take.
So, Mary, the last time that I made up my own courses at UCSD, I basically said, I'm not going to go through that process. Screw that. And simply looked at the curriculum, looked at the, whatever they call it, the list of all courses, picked something that sounded, I could cover underneath there, and then just did whatever I wanted, ignored what was in there originally, and made my own course under a title that already existed, and the Academic Senate never knew. And that's exactly how you make any progress in this place. Because
Recommendation.
because trying to go through the proper process is an exercise in futility.
Thank you. Thank you.